The most photographed woman on the planet could have driven absolutely anything. A Rolls, a Bentley, whatever the palace put in front of her. And what did she choose? A Ford Escort. The same motor you'd see parked outside a terraced house in Essex, except one of those Escorts just sold at auction for £722,000. That is Ferrari money for a Ford. Today we are telling the real story of Princess Diana's cars. The humble ones, the fast ones, and the one foreign motor that caused such an uproar. She was forced to hand it back. These are the cars she actually chose, and every single one tells you something about who she really was. Let's start at the very beginning. Number 1, the Renault 5 and the Austin Mini Metro. Before she was a princess, she was Lady Diana Spencer, a teenager living in a flat in London, working as a nursery assistant, driving herself about like any other 19-year-old. Her first car was a little blue Renault 5. Nothing special. A French super mini that thousands of ordinary Britons drove to work every morning. And that is the whole point. From the very start, Diana liked a car that let her blend in rather than stand out. Then came the motor that changed everything. A red Austin Mini Metro built right here in Britain at Longbridge. This is believed to have been a gift from Prince Charles, who had test-driven one himself at the car's launch. And once the press worked out that this young woman was courting the heir to the throne, that little red Metro became the most stalked car in the country. Photographers camped outside her flat. They followed the Metro through London. There is footage of Diana sat behind the wheel, cheeks flushed, trying to drive away from a wall of cameras. This was the car of the courtship, the one the whole world was watching before the engagement was even announced. It sold at auction back in the 90s for around £6,000. You could not buy the story attached to it for 10 times that now. Number 2, the Ford Escort Ghia. In May 1981, 2 months before the royal wedding, Charles gave Diana an engagement present. Not a diamond, not a tiara, a silver Ford Escort Ghia. Now this surprised a lot of people, and it was meant to. Britain was going through hard times, and a sensible British Ford sent exactly the right message. This was the posh Ghia trim, mind you, with a 1.6-liter engine making 79 horsepower. By the standards of a future queen, it was modest. By the standards of the man on the street, it was a proper, nice motor. That was a nod to a gift from Diana's sister, Lady Sarah Spencer, playing on the old fairy tale about a girl who kisses a frog and turns it into a prince. Diana drove this car through the early happiest stretch of the relationship. She was photographed in it constantly, often with her bodyguard sat in the passenger seat, sometimes parked up watching Charles play polo. She kept driving it until August 1982, just after their first wedding anniversary and the birth of Prince William. A devoted admirer of Diana had quietly owned it the whole time and kept its royal past a secret, even from her own friends. When it finally came up for auction in 2021, it sold for £52,000 with fees. The buyer? A museum in Chile. That is how far her story travels. Number 3, the Ford Escort RS Turbo. Now here's the one I promised you, and this is where it gets properly interesting. By the mid-80s, Diana fancied something with a bit more go. She wanted a red Ford Escort Cabriolet, a soft top, but her royal protection officers put their foot down. A canvas roof was a security risk. So they reached a compromise, and that compromise produced one of the most remarkable Fords ever built. This is a 1985 Ford Escort RS Turbo, a genuine hot hatch, the boy racer's dream of its day. The RS Turbo was sold in one color and one color only, white. Every single one, except this one. At the request of the Royal Police Guard, Ford painted Diana's example black for discretion, so she would draw less attention on the school run and the shopping trips. And here's the part people forget. She actually drove it. Hard, by all accounts. She had it from August 1985 to May 1988 and put nearly 7,000 miles on it herself. When this Escort came up for sale at Silverstone in 2022, the experts thought it might fetch £100,000. The bidding opened at £100,000 and just kept climbing. Telephone bids flooded in from around the world. At £500,000, the auctioneer actually stopped and said he had never said those words about a Ford Escort in his life. The hammer finally fell at £650,000, with fees £722,500. If you are enjoying the real story behind these motors, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments which one you would want in your own garage. Number 4. The Jaguar XJS. By the late 80s, she had moved into something with serious presence. A Jaguar XJS, the big grand touring coupe, finished in a deep green and fitted with the mighty V12 engine. This was a long way from a little Ford. This was Coventry's finest, a proper British luxury car that could waft you up the motorway all day. But the most telling thing about Diana's Jaguar wasn't the engine, it was the back seat. She had the car specially modified so that it could carry 2 small passengers in the rear, William and Harry. This was a mother's car, as much as a status symbol, a V12 Grand Tourer reworked so she could drive her own boys about herself, rather than have them ferried around by staff in an official limousine. And that, more than anything, is the thread running through this whole collection. Diana wanted to drive. She wanted her hands on the wheel and her children beside her. The Jaguar was the moment she found a way to have the luxury and the independence at the same time. It wouldn't last, because in 1991 she traded this very British Jaguar for something that would set off a national row. Number 5. The Mercedes-Benz 500 SL. This is the big one. The scandal. In December 1991, Diana took delivery of a brand new Mercedes-Benz 500 SL, metallic red, a 5-liter V8 engine making well over 300 horsepower, a drop top worth around $130,000 at the time, a stunning, fast, gorgeous German roadster. And that word is the problem: German. No senior member of the British royal family had ever privately driven a foreign car. Not one. The royals drove British full stop because the monarchy was meant to fly the flag for British industry. And here was the most famous woman in the country, in the middle of a crumbling marriage, swapping her British Jaguar for a German Mercedes and parking it where every photographer in London could see it. The backlash was immediate, and it was fierce. Government ministers grumbled, the trade unions were furious, the British motor industry, already on its knees, took it as a slap in the face. Buckingham Palace went into damage control, insisting the Mercedes had only been leased for her personal use and that she would still arrive at official engagements in a Jaguar. It did not calm anything down. The pressure kept building for the best part of a year, and eventually, reluctantly, Diana gave in. In September 1992, she handed the red Mercedes back and it returned to Germany. Think about what that actually means. A grown woman, a future king's mother, told that she could not drive the car she had chosen because of where it was built. That very car survived, and you can go and see it today. It sits in the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart, parked not far from the Popemobile. Number 6, the Audi 80 Cabriolet, which brings us to the last car, and the one that says the most. By 1994, Diana had formally separated from Charles. She was no longer obliged to turn up in palace limousines. For the first time in well over a decade, she could choose her own transport and answer to nobody. And the car she chose was an Audi 80 Cabriolet, another convertible, another German car. It was finished in a beautiful deep green called Gomera Pearl, with cream leather inside and a 5-cylinder engine. It was loaned to her by an Audi dealer in St. John's Wood, and she drove it from the spring of that year with William and Harry in the back, all over London. It became, quite simply, one of the most photographed cars of the entire decade. Every time Diana left home, the cameras went off like machine gun fire. She was statistically the most photographed person on earth that year, and this green Audi was her chariot through all of it. And here is the brilliant footnote. Audi quietly reported that sales of the model nearly doubled once Diana was seen in one. They called it the Diana effect. There is a lovely contrast in this too. That same summer, while Diana floated around London in her green Audi convertible, Charles was driving a green Aston Martin convertible. Two people, Two open-top cars, two completely different worlds pulling further apart by the day. So, there you have it. The real cars of Princess Diana. A blue Renault, a Corting Metro, two Ford Escorts, a V12 Jaguar built for her boys, a red Mercedes she was made to give back, and a green Audi that carried her into her own independent life. No secret limousines, no fleet of supercars. Just a woman who, given the chance to drive anything in the world, kept choosing the cars that let her feel a little more free and a little more ordinary. That is the whole story, and it is all true. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We post interesting videos about British cars and those who collect the very best of them. Cheers.